does that mean?
Explain.
Hold on, I'm talking to her though.
Yeah, no.
Let me talk to her.
Yeah, I get you.
Okay, so let me talk to her.
So,
Brennan, I'm talking to Emily.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
just helping. This is a lot, right? So I'm
not,
just gonna help her take a step back. And
she doesn't need your help though.
Okay. When I started my channel, I remember saying that I would never say anything negative about these people because I don't know them as people. I only know what I see on TV. But for me, from what I've seen of Brennan, he's coming across as very... I don't want to say he doesn't respect women, but he seems to have some sort of problem with women sort of questioning him, because every time they do, he then becomes very defensive and becomes very upset. And I don't know whether it's just the edits that we're getting, because he did the same thing with Emily's friends. He did the same thing with Dr. Pia, and now he's done the same thing with Emily. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it is a duck. I'm sorry. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 10. So it's nice to see Cameron and Claire having a conversation about his dad. I think they had a conversation off camera, and then when the producers came, they wanted them to continue the conversation on camera, and the way they discussed it is interesting, because Cameron said his dad is a survivor of what? Of cancer, of what? What is it? He says it sounds like his father's got a chronic illness, and so I want to understand further whether he hasn't told the rest of his family, because he said some members of his family knew, but his dad didn't know. So does that mean that his dad and mom and his siblings don't know then? Who doesn't know? But I also like the way that it was handled, in the sense that I think because Claire's a therapist, she's able to sort of understand and sort of able to sort of help him sort of navigate that, and also make sure that they are sensitive in how they discuss it on camera, because it will have some sort of effect on his family when they do say it. So I like the respect that they showed that, and they didn't go into the nitty-gritty details of, oh, he's suffering from ABCD, he's got the mental health illness, no, they were very superficial. That way there's no sort of, they left it to the viewers to decide whatever they wanted, and they kept the privacy of his dad and what he's going through, which I really respect. And then what I also find interesting is, I think Claire was saying that, oh, she's surprised that Cameron is able to speak in front of her friends and not in front of her. I think because they don't have an emotional attachment, this is why he doesn't want to say anything, because otherwise he ends up feeling like he's in a therapy session where he's speaking to his, therapist, and they're sort of helping him navigate situations. And I think had Claire been more open and more more understanding, or more emotionally invested, more or less, he would have been more open about that conversation. You then have Brennan and Emily is still apologizing for her friends, and it's like, why are you apologizing? You're not the one you apologized the first time, that's it. How he takes it is his responsibility. It's up to him to navigate that conversation again with her friends if he does see them. Otherwise, it's time to move on. You don't need to continue to say sorry to him if he is not going to apologize to your friends, because he was defensive. He came across as disrespectful at times. He himself acknowledges that he was defensive. So there's no need for Emily to continue to apologize for that conversation, because she wasn't there. Yes, she said she picks his side every time. Yes, it's good, but also you have to be impartial, because you have to sort of navigate and understand who your friends are, and also the man that you're married to, because your husband might end up turning you against your friend, and Brennan seems to be like that type. I'm confused with Becca and Austin, in the sense that, does Becca have any romantic connection to Austin, or is it that she wants to just jump his bones? That is what is confusing me, because she says, that's something that she needs in a relationship, but he is sort of standoffish, and so it's sort of, where are we? Are we wanting to jump his bones because we're really attracted to him and we're starting to develop feelings and we want to see if that bit of it works, or are we trying to see if that bit of it works, that way we can let go and see if we can develop feelings? Which is it? I didn't get that bit. Austin, on his part, I still don't get what is going on with him. I know someone left a comment about Austin, but I still feel he's protecting himself. I still feel he's protecting himself. He's worried that, she comes with a lot of chronic illness, and he's worried that will he be able to cope with that. And I think he's trying to see what she's like at her worst, or when her symptoms flare up. That way he can see if it's something he'll cope with before he actually lets himself go and allows himself to develop feelings for her. That's my impression. And then you have Claire and Cameron. Cameron, I think, are my only hope for the season, in the sense that it seems that they're both trying. I know they're both socially awkward, and I know they seem to be very methodical thinkers, in the sense that they believe 1 + 1 is 2. They don't believe in sort of, 1 + 1 might be 3, and then no, they're very methodical. They go step by step by step. So it was nice to see them actually having this conversation. And I'm surprised that Claire says she doesn't see that, Cameron is interested in her. Cameron has always been talking about wanting a romantic connection. They even got to the extent of holding hands in front of Dr. Pepper. He spoke about it in front of the other couples. So for her to say his words and his actions are not aligning, he cannot push himself on her if she's not opening up, because then it's going to be seen as sort of some sort of abuse or some sort of violation. I think that's where he's coming from, and this is why he's very cautious not to sort of extend himself or do anything that might be seen as inappropriate, which makes sense to me, which shows me that he's respectful to her. I wish she could pick up on his cues, and I wish she could try and sort of make the effort to see, since he says he feels comfortable in kissing her, she should have said, okay, let's try a morning kiss every day, and an evening kiss before we go to bed, just a peck, to see if that will help. And she should then have waited to see if he'll do it. That way she can say, yes, his words are aligning with his actions, or no, they're not. He is holding back, I think, because he doesn't want to be inappropriate. And she, sadly, is waiting for something that might not come. And I wish she could open up. I wish she could open up, because he seems to be a great guy. I think her biggest concern is the secrecy surrounding his family. I think this is why she wants to know that that's okay before she lets herself go. And so maybe it might be a matter of them, I don't even know whether it's them having a conversation with his family, maybe even one of his siblings. But then I think Cameron is scared that whoever he tells will run it back to his dad. So I don't know. It's sad that in these couples, you have people that are giving it their all, and then they're matched with people that are not. And it's a pity, because I think when people go for their interviews for Married at First Sight, they are selling to the experts what they feel the experts want to hear. And it's very difficult to sieve out which is true and which is not if you do not know the person. So the experts are buying into the representative that is sitting in front of them. And then when the cameras come on, the true person shows themselves. Because Brennan and Orion, I don't think were ready to be married. That's just my opinion, because of the way they've sort of behaved. And you have sort of Emily trying very hard to make this marriage work. She's trying to keep the connection alive. She's taken Brennan for classes to her, I don't even know, I think it's called Pilates or something class. Yes, I give him credit for participating, but it's very difficult to say because he's always very distant. So the couples meet up, and then, they're all asking, where's Orion and Lauren? Eventually Lauren arrives, and then Orion arrives shortly afterwards, and they sort of have a conversation, and it's brought up that they have divorced, or they are getting divorced, because Orion is sort of saying we, and Lauren was like, no, it's you. You are the one who wants the divorce, not me. Don't put me in your way, Lauren and I. No. And that's because he knows he's wrong, but he's trying to hide behind, Lauren. And then for Lauren to say, I feel offended that you slut-shamed me, and you said I failed in the marriage, and this, that, and the other, and yet you haven't apologized. And, well, I did. He held her feet to the fire for the comment she made when he's the one who brought up the racial slur in the first place. It's not like Lauren just brought it out of the blue. He brought up the comment, and then Lauren, in her misunderstanding, sort of took it to mean something that he didn't, and he was offended by that. And because she laughed, which she said was her coping mechanism, he felt further offended. And she has been apologizing since then. And for him not to apologize for slut-shaming her for having sex 2 months before the marriage doesn't make sense. For him not to apologize for saying she failed in the marriage doesn't make sense. And I'm surprised that no one held his feet to the fire. How could everybody just sit and watch them? It doesn't make sense. I think Orion gets away with playing victim. I think think he was intimidated by Lauren's dad when he sat down with Lauren's dad, and that sort of made him realize that he wasn't going to get away with just playing games. And since then, he's been trying his best to sort of find fault in Lauren. I think he might have not been attracted to her, or maybe he was attracted to her, but he didn't like the age, or maybe he wasn't attracted to her. Whatever his reasons are, they don't justify how he's behaved. The least he could have done is apologize. That's the least he could have done. He should have apologized. She told him she's offended. He needs to apologize. There's no debate. There's no discussion needed. If he expected Lauren to apologize without any sort of, oh, maybe, but then he should do the same. He can't expect something from Lauren that he is not willing to do. That doesn't make sense. And I'm surprised he hasn't been held more accountable for those actions. I think people are worried because of the racial slur. They're trying to sort of make sure they don't offend a particular group of people. But at the same time, you can't let someone get away with what he's done. I love Cameron. I love the fact that he was able to diffuse the tension or move the attention away, from Lauren and Orion, because it was becoming very tense and everyone didn't know how to behave or what to do or what to say that wouldn't come across as offensive. And he brought out their situation and their struggles about romance and about religion. And so I think these group activities are good when people are honest in the activities, in the sense that it gives other people sort of a temperature of what's going on with the other couples, for them to see that, oh, we're not the only ones struggling. Actually, Becca and Austin are also struggling. Actually, Emily and Brennan are struggling. Oh, Lauren and Orion have fallen apart. So we're not doing as badly as they are. And I think this was good for all the couples, because it allows them to go back and realize that, yeah, it will be challenging, but we still need to continue to do the work because we're not the only ones that are struggling. I think if you go in as a couple and you're the only one struggling and everybody else is doing amazing, then you're going to think, oh, what is wrong with us? But I think this was good for them. So when the couples leave, they have something to take with them. And then my heart broke for Lauren. I said this last week, I'll say this again. I don't think Married at First Sight was good for Lauren at this point in time. I'm not saying ever, but I'm saying at this point in time. Just because she's recently lost her mum, she's still grieving the loss of her mum. To be paired up with someone who treated her like dirt, the way Orion treated her, is just causing pain on top of pain. He was supposed to be the partner that was supposed to help her sort of navigate what she's going through. Instead, he's piled on top of her, and he doesn't have the decency to apologize. I give credit to to one of the producers who stepped forward and sort of gave her a hug and sort of checked on her and made sure she was fine. And then she went away. They took her away from the cameras to just cry, because she needed a good cry. I think if nothing else, this situation is going to give Lauren strength she didn't know she had. It's going to bring out the best in her, as long as the show gives her help to sort of navigate what she's going through, because she's been through a lot. They need to give her counseling to help her navigate not only the end of her marriage, but the baggage that she brought in, the grief that she came into the experiment with, because she should have processed the grief before. I know grief is forever. There's no way you can say, oh, I'm grieving today, or tomorrow I'm completely done, I'm moving on. I'm yet to see someone who's done that, especially after the loss of her mother. So I understand where she's coming from, and I hope she does get the help she needs. I saw a clip of her on after party, and she looked to be doing okay, but hey, it is what it is. And then you have Cameron and Claire sort of dissecting the relationships and realizing that, I said this, that something is going on with Austin and Becca, and I'm happy that they were able to sort of articulate what I was trying to say, in the sense that Austin and Becca have decided to sort of take all the conversations and sort of hide them under the cupboard and sort of get to know each other as individuals first and see if they like the person that they're paired with. Once they like that person, then they'll go back under the carpet and pull out the stuff. But then the problem is, by the time they pull it out, it might be decision day. And what will they do about that? I don't know. And I think I remember when I was talking about Orion and Lauren a couple of episodes ago, I did say maybe they should have taken time. They should have brought a topic out, discussed it, ironed it out, got to know one another, and then brought another topic out, and not gone back to back to back to back to back. This is why they fell apart. And with Emily and Brennan, everyone can see something is not right there. And I'm happy that Claire and Cameron were able to say something is not right. It seems Emily's all in, but Brennan is not. And I hope he realizes that he's got an amazing girl with him who's willing to do the work, and he's going to regret his decision if he doesn't put in the effort. He's going to be stuck in Orion's shoes. It's interesting that Emily and Brennan and Austin and Becca didn't go as couples with their partners to their individual apartments and sort of have a conversation and dissect the meeting. Instead, the husbands went alone and the wives went alone, and it's like, why? Is the tension that bad between Emily and Brennan, or is Emily that afraid to ask anything that they feel she needs to speak to another wife? I feel sorry for Emily. She's a very good-looking young lady. She seems like she's highly intelligent. So the idea that this man is treating her like any other way is heartbreaking, because I feel she deserves better, and I feel he needs to treat her better than he is. And so I get her breaking down, and I'm happy that Becca was able to sort of let her know that you are very good looking. Don't let someone else bring you down because of their own, insecurities, for lack of a better word, because it's not her fault that he doesn't find her attractive. She has to be her best self, and he has to decide whether or not he's going to take that on board or not. She can't change herself to be the person that he wants her to be. That's not her, and she shouldn't have to, just because he has his own insecurities. With Brennan, he's still being very vague. I feel it's his family. His family must have said something. This is the reason why he's now standoffish, or maybe he's seen one of his exes and they've decided to give things a go, like happened a couple of seasons ago. I don't know. Why are the couples on this season trying to break my heart? So you have Dr. Pierre meet up with Claire and Cameron, and Claire and Cameron have taken off their rings, and they really want to speak to the experts and sort of see how they can get help. And so they say they've taken off their rings because they've tried everything under the sun and nothing is working. And for me, what I get is they're taking it like a school project or some sort of assignment or some sort of experiment where they have to add A plus B plus C plus D to get to whatever they're getting to, instead of them just relaxing and enjoying the moment. I think the problem is Claire might be using her... She might be looking at things as a therapist instead of looking at things as Claire and just being relaxed and being in the moment and just enjoying the moment. Cameron, on his part, I think is doing the same thing. I think he wants to go through the steps and make sure things are working. And sadly, when they're not, that's when he sort of pulls back. So I get where Dr. Pierre is coming from when she says to them, okay, put everything else aside and just focus on getting to know one another. Since you say you're compatible, you like the person you're matched with, it's just there's no romantic attraction, and see if you can build on that. I get what Dr. Pierre is saying in the sense that at least they've tried to discuss these topics and they haven't got anywhere. Maybe they need to try and sort of get to know the person instead of getting to know the person as a Christian, and see whether they like the person that they're with. Because maybe once they get to know the person, religion won't be such a big thing, or the fact that, there's no romantic attraction, it might build. So I get where she's coming from, and I hope they really take it on board and sort of use that as sort of a compass to navigate their relationship. I also get where Cameron is coming from when he says he needs time to sort of digest what she said. Cameron reminds me of Jeff D, because Jeff D was one person who every time he was given advice, he would always go away, digest the information, and then come back and sort of work on it. If he didn't agree with it, he would always come back with a question. But I hope they really work, because I have high hopes for them. Anyway, Emily and Brennan are the next ones to meet up with Dr. Pierre. Okay, I didn't know how I felt about Dr. Pierre, but now I really like Dr. Pierre, because what she's shown is that she's not afraid of anyone, and she's able to hold someone's feet to the fire respectfully and read someone for filth respectfully. And I'm here for that, because she sat down with Brennan and Emily. And so they're having this conversation of what's going on and why they're struggling. And Brennan is saying, well, I'm not emotionally there. And she's trying to understand, what do you mean by you're not there? What feelings are you after? And for him to sort of try and stop Emily from speaking and saying, I'm trying to protect my wife. I'm trying to make her understand what you're trying to say. Why does he need to to be a go-between? Why does he need to sort of convey the message for Emily and dissect it in a way that she will understand? Does he think she lacks the ability to understand information and process it? That didn't make sense. And I like that Dr. Pierre was very strict and very honest. I think Brennan has a lot of disrespect for women. That's just my opinion. I think he has a lot of disrespect for women. I think the way he talks to women is appalling. Given how he's behaved with Dr. Pierre and the way he's behaved with Emily's friends, he's very defensive. I don't think he's been challenged by a woman before, and that's why he's becomes very defensive and very, self-preserving and sort of wants to sort of intimidate the other person from saying whatever they feel. And Dr. Pierre was right to say you need to go to therapy. I think the issues that he saw with his parents when he said my parents were very bad communicators, but they're still married, I think he's carried that on into his relationship and into his life. I don't know him as a person, but this is what I've seen. And I hope he does the work to help him become the best version of himself, because I think Emily's amazing. I think she is amazing. I think she might have areas for development, but at least she is there and she's willing to do the work. So Dr. Pierre met with Austin and Becca, and what do I think about that meeting? I think Austin and Becca are being very vague. I wish they were very honest about what their problem is, because yes, Austin is saying he's attracted to his wife, but I think there's more to that. Yes, Becca wants to move things along. I don't think it's a good thing, especially if you're married to a stranger, to just rush and get into bed and have sex. So I get where Austin is saying to him sex means a lot more than just, jumping somebody's bones. But I also think there's something else that's holding him back, and I wish he would say maybe he doesn't want to offend her or hurt her feelings, and this is why he's just saying he's a slow burner. But I think there is more to it, and I'm happy that Dr. Pierre sort of gave them hints on, there are other things that you can do to sort of increase your intimacy or to make sure that, she's satisfied. They refused to discuss the details, but I think we all know what she meant. And so, I don't know. Something still doesn't seem 100% genuine with Austin and Becca for me. I don't know what it is, but hopefully we'll find out soon. I personally don't understand what's going wrong with these couples. Seriously, I don't understand how Claire and Cameron left Dr. Pierre being told to go and avoid the deep conversations and just get to know one another, to suddenly them asking, should we stay together or should we separate? And it's like, how did we get here? I think they're being too analytical. I think they're being too theoretical. They want it according to how they've been told it's supposed to work out. And because it's not working out that way, now they're at an impasse and they don't know what to do. I wish Claire would be more open, or I wish maybe Orion needs to get Claire to speak to his family and just know that they know that she's there, even if they don't know the circumstances of the relationship coming together. And I think that will help them a long way. Brennan needs therapy. I think we can all see that, because every time somebody asks him something he doesn't want to answer, he becomes defensive. For Brennan to become so defensive and so argumentative just because he's been told that he needs therapy doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. I feel like he himself said his parents struggled with communication. And I think because of the communication he saw growing up, that's how he thinks people should communicate. And if you don't communicate in that way, then he sort of closes down and he doesn't know how to process that. And I think therapy would help him deal with a lot of emotional baggage that is brought into this relationship, and also help him address what's going on in his relationship. For him to say, I'll never attend therapy, I think he's seeing it as a negative thing and not as a positive to help him sort of become the best version of himself. And this is why he's struggling. I still am not buying what Austin and Becca are selling. I don't know. Something with them doesn't seem right. I know they are happy to try other stuff to keep, Becca happy because Austin is not yet ready for sex. But for me, I think something is not right, and I wish they could be honest and just let us know where they stand. But anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 9. Bye guys.